Okay, what we're going to do today is something a little bit different. I want to go in and I want to show you some different photos and let you see what the difference is. This is the photo we'll actually be working on. Let you just kind of have a look. And what we're going to touch on today is going to be shading areas, especially like clothing with folds, and this is a good one. It's got lots of folds in here, and I went ahead and I've colored it twice. This is the first one, and as you can see all the highlights and lowlights in here to give it dimension. The same thing here with the sweater and the pants, and even in the hair. Let me zoom in. You can see the highlights here, the lowlights here, and the same for her here. Now we're going to go and look at the other one that I'd colored. I just did this with one coat of color to let you see the difference in the two and the quality. It's kind of like that saying, the devil's in the details. Well, in this situation it is. The better you want a photo to look, the more detail work you need to put into it. We're all guilty of this, of just that one base color and just covering it up and going on to the next thing, especially when we get in a hurry on working on artwork. However, if you want a piece that's really going to shine, that you can really be proud of, and you have the time to do it, you really should take the time to go in and put in this work right here. Because I mean, it's really going to make a difference. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to actually show you how to do this. See, as you can see, she's even got the detail work in her sleeve. Let's look at the original and see what the original looks like. And see, the details are there, but they're just not as pretty as they are right here. So let's get ready to get started. Okay, so I'm going to start where I started with the other one. The first thing I'm going to start with is her skirt. So I've decided I'm going to do like a patriotic look. She's wearing some white, and this is more than likely blue. So I'm going to make her skirt red like I did in the others. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and do a base coat. Which will be the overall coating. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to go ahead and start up and create a new group here. Make it on soft light and create a new layer. Like I said, creating the layers right here. I'm going to just go in and I'm going to start coloring this. It's going to be real easy to get out of line, so you can zoom in if you need to. And you want to make sure you get up kind of close. Make sure we get that filled in real well. Zoom back out a little. And I love these old pictures. I think they're just absolutely beautiful, especially once you go in and you add some color to them. And I really like this photo. I just went on online and searched for a photo. I really wanted something that I could show you some of these textures on that would show up real well. And this is an absolute perfect photo for that. Alright, so we've got her skirt colored. Let's see where I've gotten out of the lines a little bit. So I'm just going to go on and erase it. So I use a Wacom tablet, so I don't have to go in and click erase and all that. But if you needed to, you would go in over here where this eraser is. You would click here and you would erase. With the Wacom tablet, you don't have to do that. You can actually, it's a pen and a pad. You can just turn your pen upside down and it's actually got an eraser and you can erase. So I know there will be times you'll see me go in and I'll erase and I won't go through this step. But you actually would go here. Alright, so now that we've got that colored, we're going to move on to the second step. So we're going to create a new layer. And we're going to pick a darker shade. And don't worry if it's too dark. You can always adjust it. So I want it a little bit darker so I can go in. And I'm going to start coloring in these darkened areas. You can still kind of see them once you've colored it. But I'm going to start just coloring these in. And I'm actually going to use 3 different shades to do this. I'm going to use a very dark tone to highlight these really dark creases. And then I'm going to go and use a mid-tone to get some of these areas like right here. And then I'll use a light tone to hit the top of the creases where the light's hitting, like right through here. And under this table there's not a lot of light, so you're going to have a lot more dark places. I want to make sure we've touched on all of them. And I think we have. So once we get done there, that's really a lot darker shade than we need. We could do one of 2 things. If it's not extremely dark, we could actually go right here to the fill and start pulling this down. But I want it actually a little more red, not so much black. So I'm going to push Control U, and I'm actually going to take this color up in the saturation. And even the lightness you can adjust, and that's very helpful in this. And I want it somewhere about there. And you can see these dark areas are now highlighted a lot better. So I'll push OK. And then we're going to pick a mid-tone. And I'm just going to go in and start coloring in some of these other areas that I didn't get a while ago. And you can already start seeing these lighter tones now. And they're actually just really standing out now. And that's going to make it a lot easier when we get to the next step. Alright, let's zoom back out. Make sure we've kind of touched on everything. And it looks like we have. So, again, we could do this one of two ways. We could take this fill down until it blends, or we can push Control U and adjust this manually. And I like doing that because it just brings us red shades in. And putting shadows in, it doesn't change it to a dark shade necessarily. It just changes it to a little bit different shade of red than it was. And that's still a little bit darker, but I can go and I can pull that fill down now a little bit. And that looks really well. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer. And we're going to do a lighter tone. And we're going to go in and we're going to start coloring that. And don't worry, like I said, about it being too light or too dark, the color not being just right. That can always be adjusted. And it should be real easy after you get that done to kind of see where those highlights should be. And I apologize if I'm going too fast. I'm trying not to. If you need to, pause it, rewind it, go back until you get to where the step you need. Okay, let's go back out. And you can already see this is starting to really pull together. You can see where the light has caught the skirt and where it's pulling together. So we're going to push Control U on this one because we didn't get the tone just right. I'm going to bring those reds up. Not that much. Not like that. And then I'm going to go and take this fill down just a bit. And I actually like it about right there. Just a good blending. And if you zoom out, and that's always the thing, when I'm zoomed in and I've been doing these highlights and lowlights, I can really see them and they look really strange, like it looks too deep or too dark. But if I zoom out to about the size the photo should be, you'll see that it blends really well and you can't see them. I could even take those highlights down just a tad more if I wanted to. But I could take them all the way up. We don't want them like that. That's how you can tell that they're really a little bit too much. But you can pull them down a little bit and it looks very natural like this. So then we'll go on to the next part. Whites are a little bit different. I don't usually use as many, I don't use a highlight tone in whites because I usually use the brightest white. There are a few occasions I don't use the brightest white. If it looks strange or if it's going to clash with the rest of the photo, like the saturation's going to be off. Like one thing will be real dark, one will be real light. I don't want to do that. But because I'm using such a rich tone here, I want a rich white here to kind of offset it. So, we're going to start a new layer. I'm going to make my brush a little bigger. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to pick this white. And I'm just going to start going over. And you can tell with this white especially, like when you're going over something, it's kind of drowning out those creases and those layers. You can still see them, just not as well. Take my brush size back down and get these tight areas. And it also helps, you know, I've watched a couple of videos of people that do artwork on YouTube and places like this, and one of the ones that I watched, I don't remember the gentleman that posted it, but he really talked about knowing the curves of the body, and that really helps because it helps you to know which way those creases and wrinkles should be shaded or how that fabric is going to lie on that surface. So knowing that, really it will benefit you. The contours and the curves is very important. And just, I mean, we use shading and everything, and this is such a great picture, and this is why I'm going to tell you that I think this is such a great picture. It's got all of these areas for shading. I'm getting off in the wrong stuff while I'm sitting here talking. It's got all these great areas for shading, both in their faces and their clothing, but it also has reflections that you can practice on. So that just makes this like a photo of everything. It's very, very good for teaching purposes. So, I've got my white all colored. I've got a little strip right here that I didn't get. You may have to take your brush down just quite a bit to get that. And I'm going to clean up these edges a little bit. I see where I've gotten over. This will just keep it kind of clean. I don't know how I do that. Oh, there it is. Anyhow, I'm just going to clean these edges up a little bit, and then we'll move on. This down here actually looks pretty good, but I'm going to go ahead and clean up anyways. Okay. On to shading. So, now we're going to shade this. So let me show you the difference in the one that I did earlier and what we're fixing to do. This is the one that I did earlier. Kind of zoom in on her shirt. And this is the one with just the white. But as you can see, even though it looks a little dark here, once we pull out and look, it really doesn't. So we're going to go in. Like I said, we're going to kind of zoom in on her. And we're going to start working on the shirt. So we're going to create a new layer. We're going to go in and pick a little darker shade along the grays. I'm actually going to take my brush size down a little bit. Just makes it a little easier for me. And I'm just going to start going down these creases. And it's already starting to have that more of that definition that I'm looking for. And then I think what I'm going to do is something a little bit different. Actually going to go up here to this flow. And I'm going to take it down quite a bit. Probably to about a 50. I might need to take it down a little bit more than that. Let's try about a 22. Oh, still need to go a little lower. Let's try about a 6 then. Yeah. And this allows me to do a little bit lighter shading without actually having to draw such a harsh line. And I probably should have done this on a different layer. And I'm going to show you why. But I'm going to go ahead and finish. I don't have a whole lot. And the reasoning behind this is this. I'm fixing to have to lighten these. And when I do, this shading is going to become almost non-existent. So, I'm actually going to take my fill down. I may need to pull that up just a little. Let's pull this. Control U. Pull this up a bit. And then I can take this fill down a bit to lighten those. Alright. And then let's go to a new layer. I'm just going to pull that up just a little. And I can do that light shading again. Which I want to lighten some of this up as well. But maybe not as... I don't need them on the same layer because when you want lighten one, it lightens the other. And you'll make mistakes like that. It just comes with the territory. You don't think when you do it, and then you do it and you think, oh, that's not right. Alright, so let's go back out a little bit. And we can actually just take this one down a tad. And I don't like how that looks, so I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to erase some of this. And I didn't like how that shadow turned out, so I'm going to just erase it. And as you can tell, those creases really just stand out and pop. Alright, so we're going to move on to his shirt. We're going to do the exact same thing. And then I'm actually going to stop the tutorial there because I think by that point you'll kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about, and there's no point because this could, you know, doing it like this, it takes a lot longer and this could end up being a very long video. So we're going to go in. I don't like that. Need to turn my flow back up. And that's how we've created a new layer. We're just going to go in and start coloring. But what I will do is I'm going to go ahead when I get done with this, showing you how to do this. I'll go ahead and finish the photo doing the shading techniques that I'm showing you with the entire photo. And I'll put a in copy at the end of the tutorial so you can actually see how it turned out. And I think I'm going to do his collar white like I did the other one, so I'm not going to do that. So there's his shirt, and we're going to go in and we're going to create a new layer. And we're going to create those dark creases. Okay, the one I was working on. Alright, zoom back out some. Alright, now I'm going to push Control U. I'm going to take that color up a bit, and then I'm going to take it down. And I'm going to tone the fill down just a hair. Alright, and then I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to do my lights. Well, let's do our shadows. There's not many shadows on this one though. Alright, Control U, color up just a hair. And this is going to be more preference into eye. We're going to create a new layer, and then we're going to go up and we're going to do these lights. I'm going to pick kind of a really light color so I can see where I'm putting them in. Lights around those cuffs. Generally, wherever you're going to have a dark place, like a pucker in a sleeve or a fold, you're going to have a light spot too, where the light catches it more because it's at an angle, it's at the top. So, next thing we're going to do is we're just going to take this. I actually kind of like the coloring, so we're just going to take it down a little bit by turning that fill down. Let me zoom back out. It's still a little bit too bright. I'm going to go to Control U. Take that warm that color up just a hair. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the fill back up. So, as you can tell, this is the difference right here. Go back out. This is the one with just coloring it with no shading that I had done previously, and this is the one that we just did. And then this is the one I did earlier. So, it does make a difference putting those highlights and those lowlights in. So, practice on this, and if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this photo, and then I will post it for you. Thank you. Okay, and this is actually the finished product here. You can zoom in, and you can see the textures and shading in the faces. You can see the reflections in the table. You can see reflection here and here. You can just really see how much more they stand out and how they really pop. All these shades and textures. So, this, I mean, even the wall has some texture in it. So, this is really what you're looking for. So, if you have any questions or you need any help, just let me know. Thank you.